One thing that I hear a lot from people who get really into Deepwoken is that they find the game immersive, and I too had a similar experience when I first played Deepwoken. I must have spent over 4 hours just playing the game straight with little to no breaks, and this level of immersion wouldn't be all that strange if we were talking about a game made by a studio that you would assume have plentiful resources to devote to this kind of thing. But no, we're talking about a blocky Roblox game. So how is it that Deepwoken is so immersive? A good place to start this discussion is to first lay out what makes a game immersive. There are a number of factors that can lead to a game being immersive. However, one of these aforementioned factors that comes to mind when looking at a game like Deepwoken is audio immersion. Audio immersion describes the use of sound effects and music to draw a player into an in-game world. Anyone who has played Deepwoken will immediately understand what I am getting at. Deepwoken is full of beautiful music, which is often paired with an ambience audio of an almost equally high standard of quality. One thing that Deepwoken's music does well is that it really gets the player into the flow of the game. The music isn't obnoxiously fast or loud, and overall actually fits the mood of the game fairly well. However, the use of audio and immersion doesn't stop here. Deepwoken also has a wide range of sound effects, ranging from the clashing of swords to the sound of monsters in game. This helps to maintain player immersion, as just for a second, imagine if there was no sound in places where you would expect there to be sound. Imagine if a boss was unusually silent, or if no sound accompanied your actions. It becomes increasingly obvious after doing so what kind of effect an absence of audio has in a game. Moving away from audio immersion, I feel as though I must mention the most obvious kind of immersion: graphic immersion. At face value, Deepwoken is definitely not photorealistic, nor does it have particularly high quality visuals in other areas of the game. To put it frankly, everything is blocky, as you would expect in a Roblox game. However, Deepwoken is highly stylized, and the blocky visuals that I just mentioned before actually work to the game's benefit in this instance. One of the key requirements for graphic immersion is attention to detail, and Deepwoken clearly embodies this. Everything from a cliff to a ruin has a level of detail which sets the game aside from other games. A ruin or a house in Deepwoken isn't often just a house or a ruin or whatever sort of structure you may first think it is, and it often has some greater significance to the wider lore surrounding the game. Talking about lore, the storytelling in Deepwoken certainly helps with the immersion. The overarching narratives of exploration and inter-society conflict between the various NPC races create real depth for the game. Exploring the lore-heavy parts of the game feels like you're uncovering a mystery, and these themes really aid in the storytelling side of things. More so than this though is the key feature of exploration. The game keeps players hooked as they are kept immersed in the narrative, anxiously waiting to see what the next island or hidden area has to offer them. Aside from the stuff I just mentioned, though, one in-game feature of Deepwoken contributes arguably more than any of them in making the game immersive. This is of course permadeath. I find that players are far more focused and thus immersed when they truly believe that a failure of focus could lead to a significant loss. Obviously, this loss is just the loss of your player character, but I think it's a little bit naive to write it off as just this. In reality, when you lose your character in Deepwoken, you lose all of your progress. All of the hours you spent grinding and all the rare loot you gathered, it just vanishes into thin air. This idea actually scares a lot of people who really have a vested interest in keeping their character alive. And this in turn, like I mentioned, leads to a greater level of immersion as players deal with the constant risk of dying and ending up one step closer to the scary idea of permadeath. The final thing that I want to touch on in this little discussion is the role that the multiplayer element of the game plays in immersion. Now, both enemy players and your own teammates play a significant role in the way you experience the game. Playing with friends can be immersive, as you're all working together towards a shared goal, but playing against strangers can also play a role in player immersion. People become immediately more focused when they think someone is trying to kill them in in-game. And I don't blame them. As I mentioned earlier, death in a game like Deepwoken means that you're one step closer to permadeath. Alright, this is where I'm going to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. As always, I hope you have a great day, evening, whatever time it is you guys, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye guys.